Hey there guys, Panobi here bringing you another episode of LTP, or Let's Talk Pokemon. Now I know what the majority of you guys are thinking. A new series? Actually no. This is a series that I came up with a very long time ago, before I even had 200 or 300 subscribers, I do believe. And this is actually going to be the 9th episode about Team Preview. Basically what LTP, or Let's Talk Pokemon is a series where I talk to you about usually controversial issues about either the Pokemon metagame or the Pokemon community, usually as it relates to the Pokemon YouTube community. And some of the things that I've done so far are entry hazards, the fact that a lot of YouTubers don't upload losses, the concept of battle requests, Smogon versus originality, Pokesapping, narrating, age and maturity, tier changes, those are all of the previous 8 episodes that I've covered so far. And I think it's really cool to revive this series. It's something that I haven't worked on in a very long time. The last episode was uploaded in September, and I've gotten a lot of experience since then. I have improved audio quality since then, and I think that I have a more informed opinion. So I think it's going to be a really interesting series to bring back, see what you guys think. Basically, you guys can just comment and leave your thoughts on whatever the topic is. Feel free to reply to each other, reply to me. Let's just keep it civil. It's fine to have different opinions, just try to respect one another. And before I go on rambling too long, let's go ahead and get into this, because I want to keep it relatively short. As I said, the topic for this episode is going to be Team Preview. And what I mean by that is the fact that in Pokemon Black and White, or also known as 5th Gen, you are able to see your opponent's team before the battle. And not only can you see your opponent's team, but you're also allowed to arrange your Pokemon accordingly, so you can choose to lead with something that you had not originally intended on leading with. So my question to you guys is, what do you think? Do you like it, or do you dislike it? In fact, I think I'll even comment on my own video saying, like, I like it or I dislike it, and you guys can thumbs up whichever one you feel is the most appropriate, and of course you can leave your own comment and explain why. As for me, I have a little bit of mixed emotions, but before I go ahead and give my personal opinion, I'll at least say some pros and cons to keep it, fairly unbiased seeming, or at least give an informed opinion on both ends of the spectrum. And the thing that I do like about the Team Preview is that it does incorporate a new element of skill. And that element is two different things, actually. One is, what should I lead with? What am I going to predict my opponent to put in the lead spot of their party? And that requires skill. Through experience of playing the game, you can look at a team and decide what the most effective lead is. Also, it does, a big counter to Team Preview is that they say, oh, it takes away prediction. And in a sense, that is very much true, but in another sense, it is false, because you have to predict what they are going to lead with. You have to look at your own team, look at their team, try to put yourself in their shoes. Consider them looking in on your team and what they would lead to counter you, and you can lead to counter that if you think that you're playing a good player who would think in that sort of mindset. And another thing that I really think you could say is beneficial about the Team Preview is that you have to prioritize your team. You have to look at your opponent's team and say, which members of my team have just been verified as more important or less important. For example, I posted a previous battle where I have a Heatran in my team. My opponent's team has a Salamence with Earthquake, a Cajundo, an Infernape, and a Hydreigon, all of which are going to pack a move that is super effective against my Heatran. So my Heatran just became a weaker priority on my team, as opposed to something that had more resistances to my opponent's team or team strategy. So that is one of the big things that people could advocate for the Team Preview being a good thing. Now on the flip side, a negative thing of the Team Preview is that it does take away an element of prediction, and that is because obviously you see your opponent's team. So for example, let's say you have a Cajundo out and you know that your opponent has a Shandera on their team. Well, obviously, they're probably going to predict you to go for the fake out, the U-turn, or the high jump kick. Shandera is either immune or resists all of those. So you could go for the Stone Edge, predicting them to bring in their Shandera. Now, in 4th generation, this type of prediction would be a lot more impressive, because you would not know they had a Shandera on their team. You would just predict them to bring in something that resisted the majority of your attacks. But when you actually physically see this Shandera in the team preview, it becomes a little, less impressive. But on another note, it also adds another element to prediction that I can't really say is a good thing or a bad thing. It's kind of subjective and up to your guys' own personal opinion. There's sort of this thing that a lot of people that are familiar with the competitive metagame probably know about, or it's just a concept really about prediction. Is when are you going to predict your opponent to be a quote-unquote good player or bad player? Are you going to predict your opponent to just play very, very standard, or are you going to predict them to predict you? And it just becomes this back and forth thing. And it's like, I'm going to predict them to predict me to predict them, and it just becomes this, as I've heard Chase say, this prediction of predictions of predictions. And with the team preview, you can say, oh, I predicted him to predict me, to predict him to bring in his Shandera because I saw it on the team preview. So it's just this new element to prediction, and I can't really say whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. Overall, now that I do have a little bit more experience with the 5th generation, as I have been uploading some 5th generation battles as of late, I can say that it's kind of hard to give a definitive answer, but I'm going to say I do not like the team preview. As I said in my very first Pokemon Narrative Wi-Fi battle of Black and White, I was not a fan of team preview. Since then, I've become more of a fan of it. I've seen the merit in it more, but overall, I still think that having no idea what your opponent's team combinations are makes it more exciting, harder to predict, and overall, just a little bit more of an enjoyable and skillful experience. But that's just my take. Perhaps I am not considering all the issues or all the elements that Team Preview offers, which is one of the reasons I make this video. We all have something to learn. I may have more subscribers than some of my subscribers, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily know more about them on this subject. There are plenty of very informed people that are not super into uploading videos and things like that. So I think we can all teach each other something. I think we can all give an informed opinion, as we are all familiar with the Pokemon metagame and with the way this element works and things like that. And if you're not, then you can at least read the comments and hopefully find some enjoyment out of it. And I think that's where I'm going to cut it off for this episode, as it is starting to get a little bit long, but these episodes do have a tendency to get a little bit lengthy, unfortunately. I'll try to keep them fairly concise in the future. But let me know what you guys think about this series. It's something that as I said, I haven't worked on since September, which has been quite a while, and I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers at that stage. At least I certainly don't think I did. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoy. Leave a thumbs up if you like this series or you want to see more, or if it is something that you feel is helpful and all that cool stuff. So I will catch you guys later, and peace out.